Welcome to the Amber Forest Podcast, episode 1. This is our first episode.
I'm Dustin.
My name is Braden.
Nice to meet everybody.
And we are two friends who have been making music for a long time and recently connected over filmmaking and this idea of making a movie. So we started a little production company called Amber Forest Pictures, really small team. And we're currently in the process of making our first movie together. So we just thought it'd be kind of cool to, share a bit of the journey and, what we've learned. And
for most of our lives, just been doing music. So yeah, I feel like this has been kind of just like a cool start to a new journey. And we just decided might as well start a podcast, start talking about the filmmaking process, what it's like being a small filmmaker in 2024.
Yep.
And other things. Yeah.
And I think part of the reason we connected so much is because we both put so much into our own music videos as far as like trying to make them cinematic. And we both kind of just do it with what we have, which is usually just limited resources. And, I feel like we both learned how to do a lot with little when it comes to like, props and filmmaking and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess maybe just talk a little bit about how it came to be, the whole Farlight thing and getting involved with that. So I had this, I've been writing this movie called Farlight that kind of started out as like a series, just all these short horror stories. And I was planning on shooting the first one after a tour with, some other people, and it just didn't work out. And then we went mini golfing before a tour and just kind of told you about it. And yeah, we just started talking, and by the end of the tour, we're just like, let's just do it. Like neither of us have ever done anything like this before. But let's just do it. We kind of took a huge leap of faith. And then you brought on Josh, our camera guy, and the rest is history. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's I remember just kind of like seeing you pretty much post about Farlight on social media, and literally like it immediately, because I've always been a fan of your music. And I just remember like seeing that you were starting that film project. And for me personally, I've been wanting to do filmmaking for like years and years, but it's just kind of one of those things where it seems so difficult to start, especially if you haven't been kind of like following a film school path or maybe, a production assistant in LA or wherever. But yeah, so I just remember kind of seeing your stuff on social media and just immediately being like, I really want to get involved in this. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, it's been, I guess, and now we're about halfway, a little bit more than halfway done. So
yeah, man, it's been a long project.
Yeah.
But I think for me, that was kind of what I like needed, was like somebody who was just like, all right, let's just do it. Because logically it doesn't make sense, really. It's just like, we're going to film a movie. And I feel like that's probably where a lot of people get kind of caught up with anything, like any creative project, is like, how do I do it? Right. And I feel like that's something we both dealt with and just pushed past. And I just kind of had a feeling, I was like, it's not going to be any different with this. We'll just figure it out. And we shot the first part, which is one of the stories, went to this old cabin for what was like a week or something.
Yeah, I think about a week and a half almost.
Just gear everywhere. Just, man, it was pretty brutal. And we didn't really know like what it would be. But I just feel like this whole thing has been like film school, like we've talked about. It's just like figuring out how to do it. And every time we shoot, we kind of learn what can we do better next time. And it's just been really cool to kind of go through that. So
yeah, I totally remember just leading up to like the first story. Like once we connected and once we were already talking, it was just like, okay, like we're doing this, how is it actually going to like look like? So we're doing all like the pre-production, the planning. And I feel like we talked about we talked about the script, we talked about the production, and we like had all these plans of like how it was going to go. And I just remember like months of that. And then like when it finally happened, it was just like totally, you just realize like everything's kind of off the table that you like planned for.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because it was the first time and you're just like thrown directly into it.
Yeah.
But
dude.
yeah, I just remember, because we just had like gear absolutely everywhere. We were staying in an Airbnb for the filming location, and essentially we just kind of lived on the set essentially. So I just remember like sleeping in a bedroom with literally piles of like totes and like just like prosthetics and just like the scary, because like we picked a pretty scary cabin for the first story. And I just remember just getting probably the worst week of sleep in my entire life.
So funny, dude. Yeah. Because we're doing all this like scary stuff, and then we got to sleep there and it's old.
Right. So you're like creating this atmosphere, and you're creating this like frequency in the space that you're in.
Yeah.
And then you're just like living with that the entire week. But
wasn't it super hot too? Was it hot? I feel like it was.
I don't remember. I think it was. There were so many emotions, so many things like swirling around.
Yeah.
I can't even like pick out a single thing from that. But yeah, no, it was I don't know, like, yeah, I guess how did it different from like what you expected? Because I guess you've done some stuff before, like filmmaking.
Yeah.
For me, it was like the first thing besides like music videos. So yeah, I guess like how did it differ from what you expected leading up to it months prior?
Man, it's interesting because I feel like I've worked on movies before, like, you know, just random stuff. And it's always kind of been on this pedestal, like a film crew or something, where it's like you feel like it's far away. And I remember like getting there and kind of had this idea of like, how do we be legit filmmakers, like kind of in the back of my head. So I feel like I was projecting a lot onto it. And like later on, like as we've done this more, you just realize, oh, we just already are doing it. And that's what everyone does. But I don't know, dude. I feel like I still had, you know, like the music video mindset, which I know we've kind of talked about, but just like doing it for, I don't know, just making sure I looked good in every shot and making sure every shot like catered to like vanity a little bit in a way, because that's what music videos are a lot of times, right? Which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but it's something I had to like I edited it together and kind of realized like, oh, there's not much of a story there, like, you know. So that was a huge lesson for me personally. And also I just feel like after that, we just, you know, we didn't storyboard that one. We just kind of showed up. Like the first shot we did was like, oh, it's raining. Why don't you just walk into the lake? Right.
Right.
It's like, but I feel like it was cool because we just like messed around. We didn't have much of a plan. We had, you know, and it was cool. Like it was cool, like weird artsy short film. But I mean, we did decide we're going to reshoot that story, you know, because we've done 2 other stories since then. And I don't know, we just learned a lot. We've just gotten better. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like between that one and the second one, Hedge Mill, we grew like a lot. And I'm interested that like, what do you think? Like, why do you think that was? Because I feel like it turned out a lot better. I know we used, a better camera and better lenses, but yeah.
Yeah, no, so we basically did the first project. This would have been like August 2023. So that would have been last August. And yeah, it was like all this preparation. I feel like both me and Braden are like super focused on cinematography and all that stuff. And so I think what it just kind of came down to, essentially, it looked amazing. Like everything we filmed that week looked absolutely incredible. But it did come down to like the structure and the story. And it was like, how does this, I think with music videos, because that's what we're used to, like we were able to make it look like pretty much, I mean, not exactly how we maybe wanted, but pretty dang close. And it just came down to like, oh, there's so much more to filmmaking. Making an actual film than, making a music video is just completely different. And so, yeah, I think we grew so much from that and kind of realized like what was the important aspects that we took away from the first one. Because, yeah, the second one, Hedge Mill, we did that a few months later. And although we did upgrade like camera, lens, all that, it definitely, I guess like once you do something once, you just feel way more comfortable after that.
Yeah.
And I guess the script, it's something you'd written a long time ago. And I feel like, yeah, it was just a little more cohesive. It kind of made sense for just like as a short film as part of this anthology. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think a big part of it's just like, yeah, you get through the first one and then you've immediately made like all these like neural connections and like you've already done it. So you feel more comfortable to like continue to push the boundaries, which is, yeah, I feel like we've been doing that. So
yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is just realizing it is like a collaborative thing. Whereas music videos and music, we do so much of our own stuff. You know what I mean? To where it's like we're not necessarily used to that. And I've had to like start to learn how to do that. and, you know, realize it is just about like serving the project and the story and all that. But we got to give Josh some credit. I wanted to bring this up because when we did Old Dog, he was driving, what was it, like 2 or 3 hours a night each way?
Yeah.
He had to work
Josh,
in the morning. Oh, man.
Yeah. My cinematographer friend, Josh, amazing guy. Shout out Josh. I remember, I think he lived maybe an hour and a half away or 2 hours away, and from the Airbnb we were shooting at. And he had every single night, we were like ending maybe between 1 and 3 a.m., somewhere in between there. And he was just driving like all the way. He'd be waking up at like 6 a.m. to go to his job, drive all the way back, and just over and over for a week and a half. Absolute trooper for sure.
Yeah. But that's kind of the thing I feel like that carries it, though, is like we have a small team, but we're all willing to do it, whatever it takes, because we want to do it. And, you know, I just feel like it's so valuable. And I just sometimes, you know, we've talked about it, but just like the chances that we all kind of came together and have the same mindset is just like crazy. So, yeah, man, it's pretty insane.
Totally.
But,
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was, I don't know, it's been amazing so far, but,
yeah, we're not done yet.
Exactly. Yeah, we got a bit left to go. We filmed, I guess, we filmed a lot more than that, but we've got I guess we've about 30% left, maybe 40% of the film left.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and it's interesting because we dropped like a teaser trailer for the movie. I feel like people don't necessarily know exactly what it is yet, which is fine, you know. But it's kind of hard to explain too, because it's not like your typical kind of film. It's just like 3, you know, short stories that are all interconnected. So I'm excited to, you know, when the day comes that we have like a trailer that is like, oh, this is what the movie is, but it's like, that's what it's been for us too, is like figuring out what it is, you know? And, but it's interesting because I'm at, like with the second one, Hedge Mill, it's kind of a bigger scale thing where it's like about 2 guys who crashed their plane at an old farm. And, it was an idea that me and Micah, who's also in it, came up with when we were, you know, like in grade 7 or something. And it's just funny because it was like, I can't believe we're shooting this. And it always felt like, how are we ever going to do that? Like, how are we going to find a farm, a plane, like all this stuff? But it's like when you start crossing those little barriers of like, oh, you can do this, you can find that stuff if you put it out there and go after it. It's just like gives you more confidence, right? And it's like with the latest one we filmed, it's like we filmed at a cinema, right? It's like, that's crazy, but it doesn't feel as crazy like after you start realizing that people are willing to help, and also like things aren't impossible. So that's been cool to learn, I think, too.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, well, at least I guess, you know, starting off from the perspective of mainly a musician, it's like you have like an idea for a song or maybe a music video. And those things kind of come to fruition maybe a little bit easier, because it's not easy. I mean, you still have to learn production, or you have to find someone to make you a beat, or you have to get the right equipment, and slowly you start to able to like create the art that you've kind of been like imagining in your head from like this beginning inspiration that you had like when you're a kid, or whenever you've kind of got like motivation to make music. But in the filmmaking process, it's definitely at least what I've learned is it's a much bigger endeavor. It involves much more people, resources, like organization, logistics, all that. But it's kind of the same way where if you just set the intention, like this is what I'm going to make happen first, and then everything kind of just sort of comes together, like pointed towards that, you know, one goal, just like through your own intention and kind of manifestation and just how things usually work. But yeah, it's been cool to kind of see how that really is true when you like set the intention to do something. Even though there's so many moving parts, it seems like it's almost impossible that it will all come together. Like, how am I going to get 2 theaters to rent out, you know, willing to make a film, and especially like a horror film too, and with not that much experience, not much experience negotiating, not knowing, you know, exactly what gear you're going to need exactly. It's just like there's so many factors. But I think this definitely, like Farlight, has kind of proven to me, you know, you can really do anything at any scale, whether big or small. It's just like starting with that intention of what you're going to do, and then having like all the small pieces sort of fall into place.
Yeah,
I guess.
I agree.
But
yeah, and we started to do like weekly meetings after, was that like after Hedgemel we started? So we're like always talking about it and going through it, you know, and like we storyboarded the latest one together too. And that was massive. Like just having a complete roadmap. I think we realized how valuable that is. So
yeah, because the first ones were just kind of run and gun. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess you did have like a shot list together and a schedule, but it was more all in your head. And then I was just like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, it was kind of sort of, I guess not sort of, yeah, sort of up to you to sort of recreate the shots in your head, like, and kind of explain to people like, okay, this is the next shot. And I think just storyboarding and having something laid out is definitely the way to go, but you kind of learn those like steps as you go, I guess.
And it's funny because like with Hedgemel, there was only 4 of us working on it. Me, you, Micah, and Josh, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you were playing the farmer, so you were in like a costume and rubber boots the whole time, like holding the mic, you know? Like we're all doing so many things. Like you know, it's just like crazy, man. But it's like if you have people that are willing to do whatever has to be done. But the last shoot we did have more people, and that was huge. Like just having extra hands was massive.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't realize how much those little things like take so much stress off, you know?
Well, yeah, when you watch the credits to a film or like a movie, you're just kind of blown away at how many people you see, you know, on the credits. And you're like, how is that even possible that many people are involved in this movie?
Yeah.
Because I feel like some people honestly think you just like, oh, just pick up any camera, just point it somewhere and just start going. And it's just going to look like a movie. Like it, I mean, some people think that, some people don't, but it is, I mean, furthest from the truth. Just to get one scene, or like one direction in a conversation. I mean, sometimes you can set that shot up for 3 hours, just the lighting, just for like one little conversation piece. And that's just one angle, you know? So it comes down to just kind of realizing how any little thing can increase efficiency or time on set. Even like, you know, somebody just standing next to the, you know, director or who's ever doing cinematography, just being like there to like help switch lenses or like to put a filter on or just to like hand him like wires or, you know, just little tiny things. I mean, that could save, I don't know, 5-6 hours in the course of an entire shoot, like multi-day shoot. So yeah, it is kind of crazy just how many people, or the more people, just how much efficiency is created over time.
Definitely.
But
yeah. But it's been like so cool. And like we're hoping to shoot the last bit of the movie like early next year. And then finally, you know, just put it together. But it's a lot, you know, because we're doing everything, right? It's like, it's going to take a while, but I feel like it'll be so worth it. And it's also been, you know, just so much like learning, and also just like hours and hours on YouTube. It's like learning how to do certain things. But I think kind of, the point of all this is like, you can do it. You know, it feels like something that feels impossible. But if you just break it down like little steps and you find people who also have kind of the same vision, I don't know, man. I just feel like anything's possible, honestly. Like, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. And I think one of the biggest part, especially with filmmaking, is you have to find people that actually want to do it with you, because for, you know, both you and me being musicians, you can kind of get away with doing so much stuff yourself.
Yeah.
That it gets to and I guess this comes to a good point. Like, just like I feel like both you and me in the music space have probably done the majority, I mean, more music, art, marketing related like aspects, as like, I mean, nowadays more and more people are taking control of like literally everything. But I do feel like just doing things yourself for so long, every aspect, when it comes to the business, when it comes to like music videos, the editing, you know, production, mixing, songwriting, literally everything just by yourself for the most part, you kind of get into a pattern where you don't really know how to work with other people in some sense. Like, you do know, but it's more difficult. And I think that's one thing where it's like, it was nice to find each other, because filmmaking is the one thing it's just not gonna, like, sure, people have made short films by themselves. You can find them on YouTube, but it is an absolute like chore to set up like lighting for a scene by yourself with a monitor attached to a camera. I mean, you know better than everyone. I mean, you've made music videos completely by yourself, haven't you? Pretty much.
I think yeah, maybe. Probably just random ones.
Right.
But it's never fun, dude. It's like fumbling with chords and you knock stuff over and like it just, you don't want to have to deal with that stuff when you're trying to be creative, you know? So.
Yeah. So I think it's just so important to connect with other people that, you know, have a similar vision, and because that's where you start to expand your team out from there. It's hard for like one person just to like find everybody. And especially when, you know, funding is at its like beginner stage, you can't just start paying like people full-time, you know, contracts for all these things. Cause it's like the first project. It's like you have to test to even see, you know, where you're at in like a finished product and how it'll actually, you know, how the sales are going to do or how you're going to pitch it to distributors. And so really the first project I think is probably, I'm sure for most people it is challenging, but yeah, I guess.
And we always kind of say it's like we took on like one of the hardest things at the start, like a horror movie that's a bunch of different stories, you know, because horror, I feel like, I mean, I love horror movies, always have. And I just was like, oh, I want to do this. But you don't realize like how complicated it is. I feel like a lot of it is the lighting, right? It's like you're in dark spaces and you have to make it look cinematic and also correct exposure and like all this stuff. I feel like we've gotten better at that for sure, but it's tough, you know? So I think we all kind of look forward to doing something later after this, right?
Yeah, I think starting with an anthology, which is like multiple locations, multiple characters, there's so many dynamics to it, and then trying to fit all those together cohesively too, because a lot of the writing has been happening while we've been making the films. So yeah, it's probably the best natural film school we could both have.
Yep.
I mean, neither of us went to film school, don't have like formal education in any of this stuff, but I think just doing something like this, like a horror anthology, multiple stories, you know, there's so many plots happening, trying to weave everything together. It's kind of just the perfect, like, natural film school, I feel like.
It is, yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
Even though it's hard, it's been the perfect project to start with.
Yeah, it's been cool, man. And we got to give a shout out to Baz, our friend Baz Black, who's an actor from Ireland, who just wanted to be involved in the film, and he was in one of the stories. Like, it was cool because that was kind of an unexpected, random connection, you know? But he, like, having him on set, somebody who's been doing it for a long time, it's like we also got to learn from, you know, just having him around. But I know he is really excited about the project. So it's kind of like a win-win for everybody, like working together. And it's just cool because of like just random connections you don't expect, you know, just by like going out and doing it. So, and that was cool for me, like as an acting too, because like acting with him in scenes was awesome because I haven't really done a whole lot besides with Micah comedy stuff. So that was cool for me. And I feel like just on the acting side, it's helped me like it really helped me open up a lot, you know, just doing this whole thing. So that's been cool too. So.
Yeah, no, it's been, Baz was absolutely incredible. Very like, experienced actor, you know, been in a ton of great, you know, TV shows, done his own movies.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was an amazing experience. I think for us, we've, you know, done music long enough now where, you know, you meet a lot of people, you kind of understand the industry, you know, you kind of know where you're at and where you need to be moving forward. But with filmmaking, when you start out, or especially for us, it's just, we have no clue. Like, I mean, like Braden, you know a couple people in the industry, in the independent film industry, but for me, like I never met a single person who, I mean, I did live in LA for 3.5 years or 3 years. So I definitely met people involved in the film industry, but never really had someone who worked in the space long enough to kind of like let me know what it was all about and just like fill me in on just experience and time. And like, it's just like a total new thing. So yeah, Baz was absolutely incredible and just kind of, it was just fun hanging out it was like, what, a week and a half.
Yeah, I think so.
The theaters and just learning from him and just super cool guy. And So yeah, and it honestly made me a lot like excited because, you know, for him, he's been doing this full time for a little bit now. And I think directing, just got a contract for directing a pretty decently sized film. So yeah, it's just cool to hear from people who've kind of made it happen as a career.
Yeah.
And it definitely like motivated me, I think, after doing the last showing with him.
Definitely, man. And it was cool, you know, because like, I don't know, dude, like how professional he was too. Because it's like, you know, with us, it's like we're just making it happen. Like, I mean, we had some nights that was like we ended at like 6 in the morning, probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, 20 hours was our first shoot.
Yeah, but he would always just be out there waiting and be like, okay, we're ready. And it would just come in and do it. And he's like, yeah, it's all good, you know? Like that one, the last scene of that story, he had this like insanely intense thing he had to do. And it was like probably 4 in the morning, maybe later. Blood flying everywhere. And he just like brought it. It was insane. And I was under there filming him with the camera, like right underneath him. It's pretty awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, that was an epic scene. You could tell he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think it's with anything when you can snap into something like so quickly. And yeah, I think it's always hard to know, especially I think what was intimidating for us, you know, working with Baz too is you know, this is the first time we've really done anything film wise. And I mean, I guess that would have been our third project we worked on.
Yep.
So it's really like, we don't know the exact protocols and all the steps and, you know, how you should structure setting up a scene and how to communicate every idea too. And it's a lot of, but what you kind of realize, or what I learned from him being there as well, is like, yeah, this is like, you're pretty much, you know, you're doing things similar to a lot of independent film or production companies. And obviously we're going to learn a lot more over time, but it does seem like most filmmakers, it's kind of, there's no like one size fits all for a process. You just learn to be more organized with time. And I think we learned from that last one, like, you know, we were probably more organized than the previous one, and same same all the way back. But yeah, there's always just more efficiency that can be done, because it's such a creative thing you're doing, but the amount of logistics and organizing that needs to take place beforehand is pretty profound, actually. And yeah, I feel like he guided us well in the things we could improve on. And yeah, I think, I don't know, I'm pretty excited moving forward, I guess, for the next one.
Yeah, it's hard because at least for me, and I'm sure for you too, it's like being on set and doing that is like one of the best experiences of your life. Like, so it's hard after, honestly, because there's such a spread out time between when we're shooting. It's kind of hard because you just want to be back doing that. And I've tried to kind of figure out why it's like that, but I don't really know. It's just kind of a magical thing. It's like you're just building something that's so like impossible to build almost, that requires so much stuff and everyone working together, that it's just like you're bringing into reality this like insane idea. And it's the best feeling, you know?
Yeah, I remember the first time I was ever on like a film set for a movie called The House of Tomorrow, or House of Tomorrow, with Asa Butterfield and Alex Wolff. And just being an extra in one of the scenes, we were just like in a mosh pit in a basement with a punk rock band playing. And I just remember something about just like creating a scene from nothing and just being in a film. It immediately just was like the most exhilarating feeling. And there's no like reason why, you know, I couldn't tell you why that was like the coolest thing I'd ever experienced almost, but it honestly felt that way. And so yeah, like, you know, going back to actually making your own film, it's one of those feelings you just can't replicate.
Yeah.
It feels like the coolest thing in the world to be doing, honestly. Like,
yeah.
And I guess like a lot of people, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would think the same thing. I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that, you know, it seems like making movies is probably like one of the coolest jobs you could have. And it feels that way on set. And it's just hard afterwards because it only goes on for so long. And then it's another months and months of preparation to, I don't know, do it all over again. But
yeah, it's cool, man. It's like, I don't know, just having an idea and then seeing, like being on set. I think what I love is like, because I'm like editing this film and stuff, like showing it to people who are involved, and like just that transition of like being there versus what you actually see, it's crazy. Like it's really, cool. Like a mundane, like something that just looks boring to your eye, like on camera can look just absolutely amazing. So it's
right.
Yeah, man, it's a special thing. So
yeah, it was really cool because this last one we had extras too.
Yep.
Which we hadn't had in the other ones. So that was just a whole nother element. And it was fun because you could tell other people were having so much fun being there.
Yeah.
And you kind of remember what it was like, because I know you've done a lot of extra work too. It is really fun to be an extra because, I mean, there's not as much pressure. Obviously, you don't have to act. You usually don't have, like, maybe you'll have a line, but nothing crazy for dialogue. But yeah, it's just like a really fun thing to do. And it was cool to like create that experience, I feel like.
Yeah, man. No, yeah, definitely.
Well.
And yeah, that dude, yeah. I used to do extra work. Like my favorite experience, and I probably talked about this before, but I was working on that show called The Boys on Amazon. That was like one of the coolest experiences of my life because there were so many extras, and also just seeing, like, it's one of my favorite shows now. And I didn't know anything about it because it was the first season when we did it. But I don't know. I just signed up to like an extra agency and then just immediately got to be on all these huge sets and like see some of my favorite actors. I got to tell the Billy story. I don't know if I told you.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to tell the Billy story.
But
yeah.
I think it was probably the last background shoot I did. It was a movie called, I think it's called Broken Hearts Gallery, but it's got Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things. And we were filming in this like really small little building. And there was like maybe 20 extras and we were just in this room. So I was like, I just got to go to the bathroom. So I go in the bathroom, tiny little bathroom, and I'm just, doing my thing. And then suddenly Dacre walks in right beside me. And I'm just like, oh my God, man. I like looked at him. I was like, I can't say hi. Like, it's too weird,
No,
but,
you can't.
No, but it was
you want
cool.
to, but yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, just be at random opportunities and connections. Just cool. Just the whole movie thing has just always been so fascinating to me ever since I was a kid. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is really cool. Just like interacting with, I guess like people that it's like you want to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I guess, just like small interactions or small, like anytime I was in LA and I ran into an actor I recognized, or I actually worked at a bookstore in Beverly Hills, and I would run into people all the time, like YouTubers I was into, like actors. And every time I just like, it literally like kept me there because it always like refreshed my spirit, like meeting people like that. Cause I'm like, dang, like I just like love what you've done, like the things you've created or been a part of. And I want to do the same thing, like in any aspect, whether it be music, film.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool. And it like refreshes your spirit. And yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah. Filmmaking it's great. And it's so cool to be able to have those experiences, back in 2020 or 2019, 2020, I guess is when I was living in LA mainly. And having those cool experiences, meeting the cool people, like interacting with people who worked in the film industry, and just being like, man, like I want to be a part of this so much, but I just don't know how I'm ever going to do it because I've kind of chosen music as my path and I've put all my energy and time into that. And then to actually be doing it and like actually be making a movie and kind of committing to making movies forever, or at least for the foreseeable future, it's just like, it's such a satisfying feeling for me personally.
Definitely, man.
And I'm sure you feel the same way. It's just,
yeah,
yeah,
I do. Yeah. And I was thinking it'd be kind of cool thing to talk about, but like why it matters so much to us. But I think that's kind of the thing too. It's like when you meet an actor, you see an actor, somebody that you've like experienced like a story they've been a part of. It's just something, there's just, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I remember when I did The Boys, like I can't remember his name now, the dude from Lord of the Rings, Carl Urban, I think. Like Lord of the Rings, all-time favorite films, and he was standing right in front of me, and I just like was like, wow, like you experienced like these moments that I also experienced through like this movie. There's just something about that to me. Or like, the It movies, like with, like the newer ones were filmed, in a town like where one of my family members lives. So just seeing that in the movie was like, wow, like I go to those places. I know that it's just something magical. It's like collapsing time almost. So I don't know, dude, it probably doesn't make sense, but I don't know. And it's like, we do that, we're able to do that. Doesn't matter the scale, but it's like, we can take a space, transform it into something else. It's going to be that forever. it's just really special to me. So
yeah, it's cool like going back to a location after you've made a movie at that place, and you just like all those memories come rushing back, and it's just like, yeah, one of the coolest things ever. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to keep going with it. But yeah, I guess like, I don't know. Well, we have one story, I guess, in the anthology still to film, which would actually be the story we initially filmed last August.
Yep.
Old Dog. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. I guess that'll be, because in most of the films so far, I've been playing some of the creatures, you know, doing the audio.
Sitting in a bathtub with onions and bread.
Sitting in a bathtub with horrible, every condiment you could imagine, every disgusting like thing we could possibly find. Yeah. So I've done all the dirty work, so to speak, but I've enjoyed it as well. It's been super fun.
Dude, that was funny, man. I remember you were just standing there. So we shot a scene where you played a creature in a bathtub, just for context. Peanut butter smeared all over the walls.
Oh my God, it was horrible. And then we had this, I guess it doesn't matter to say it or not. I don't know if we'll use it, but we had this like skin peeling.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Stuff. So I had like the skin, like it basically sticks to your skin, and then like when you peel it off, it looks like skin is peeling off. And I had that on me. It was like all this disgusting stuff we threw in. They literally like they just started throwing everything in the tub that looked gross. And I'm in this like this prosthetic mask and everything, and I remember everyone kind of. So I took the prosthetics off, and I'm like kind of washing myself like a little bit off in the tub, but all this stuff is like left there, and everyone just kind of like disappeared from like the set, and I'm just in a bathtub by myself, like. Guys, like I there's no like rug for me to step on. I didn't have a towel. I was just like completely abandoned. That was pretty funny.
I think it was because everyone thought someone else was going to get you a towel or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's you learn like, yeah, it's everyone's like deferring responsibility. But I just remember I think I was like trapped up in that tub for 30 minutes before anyone heard me. I just kept like
just crying.
But
yeah, it was crazy.
I was just trying to get out. It was like it was probably the closest I've ever been to puking, like just based on how gross something was. Because like I remember we were on set, like I was in that tub, and I seriously was like taking deep breaths to like stop myself from getting sick from like what I was basically sitting in.
And we only used like 2 seconds of it in the movie. But it was worth it. It was worth it.
That's another thing is you realize like you don't like sometimes there's shots you'll see in a film that are, for a half a second. It's the same with music videos. I'll have a shot that maybe is shown for a half a second in the video, or maybe 2 seconds, and it's like that could have taken 7 hours to pull off. But I enjoy that. There's something like beautiful about spending an insane amount of time
because only like what went into it, like.
100%.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, man, Old Dog will be cool because that's going to be like your acting debut, I guess, right? Technically, because you're going to be playing one of the characters. That's gonna be fun.
So it'll be the first time actually doing dialogue, playing one of the characters in the story. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be kind of my acting debut, and yeah, I guess like for me, it's always been about like acting is just like one of the aspects of filmmaking, and I feel like. You kind of have to learn everything. Like we both learned everything, and you're sort of like just serving the story. So I feel like because we've been filmmaking, like to me, it's not like I don't feel like nervous or intimidated by it because it's just like another part of the filmmaking process. It's not like, oh, I've auditioned for this part and I hope that I make a good impression on everybody.
100%.
And he's like, I feel like and you have experience with that, I guess, with the acting and auditions.
Yeah, and auditions suck, dude. But it's like with this, it is totally different because it's like, yeah, well, okay, today I got to act. Today I got to do the audio. I love that mindset, and I feel like it's kind of turned into that a bit for me. Like I've always loved acting. So I kind of started writing this movie to write myself a bunch of characters because I'm playing a bunch of different characters like we all are. But it has kind of turned into that where it's just like, I don't feel nervous. I don't feel that same preciousness about it, or I guess attachment to it. Which is good, it's what you want. So, yeah.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess the reason you sort of wanted to do Farlight maybe at first was because you wanted to get into filmmaking and wanted to act,
Yep.
but it's just that audition process.
Yeah,
you know?
100%, dude. That was probably, I was like, I want to act, but I don't want to do auditions. Like, I've done all that stuff. It's so hard, dude. I've gotten a couple things, but it's only been like when I didn't care about it, usually, that it worked out. But it's so hard to cross that line when it's like you don't know anybody. It's like you feel like it's life or death. You know, you wake up at 7 a.m. Like, it's just, so I was like, all right, just make my own stuff, you know? And I feel like it's just been so much more fulfilling because we get to do whatever we want. We don't have to impress anybody. And I feel like that's kind of something I've been trying to hold on to since we started, you know, not doing this for anybody but ourselves, and like not putting it on a pedestal, you know, and just like always keeping that essence of like doing it to fulfill ourselves. And I mean, obviously there's other things, you know, we want it to do well. We want all these things, but I feel like it's so easy to lose that. And like, I know I lost that at some points with music, you know? So it's kind of just felt like a restart in a way, just like being not personally attached, not about just me. It's not about my ego. It's just about the making the thing. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. I guess for me, I didn't really have any expectations or attachments when I offered to help with Farlight initially. And when we like first met, to me, I was just like, oh, you're making a movie. That sounds amazing. Like, I just want to be a part of it. I don't know in what way. Like, I'll literally do anything. It's kind of it's become like sort of a holistic thing, at least for me. And I think, you know, for you, like, you started off with acting and doing auditions, and you have made your own stuff in the past. But yeah, I guess you kind of learn to fall in love with the entire process of filmmaking, not just, oh, I'm an actor. And like, you see this a lot with actors in Hollywood. They'll act for a number of years, and then eventually they're directing something, and eventually they're executive producing something, because you just like learn to love the process.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least, yeah, I feel like we both have, and really just all the aspects.
Yeah, man.
Except audio, except running audio.
Yeah, it's
nothing worse.
I don't think I've done it. Maybe I've done it for 1 or 2 shots, but yeah, never looks
yeah,
fun.
I've done it for the last 2. No, so I guess it's funny because we are like audio people, like being musicians, and for some reason I just find that to be more of the difficult like task on set.
And because it's so important to like
it is so important. Yeah, and you have to know the script, because you're obviously like switching between actors, and that's one thing I really learned is if you're running audio, you really have to know the script. You have to make sure you're technically on point. I mean, camera is obviously difficult too, but I think everyone in filmmaking kind of romanticizes like cinematography, so it's probably a little bit more fun. I mean, I'm sure people enjoy either or, but for me personally, I think audio is the hardest aspect. Besides lighting, I mean, lighting, you know.
Josh is great with lighting though.
Yeah. Josh is the lighting expert on set for us.
Yep.
And we're learning the best we can, but it's always like a challenge because, just trying to do everything, at once, you know, and you just kind of learn like what you like and what you don't like, but you really don't have a choice. Like when you're making your first film, you just gotta do whatever the crew needs and whatever the film needs. So
pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I feel like the last one we did, like I actually had a chance to kind of direct, like just with Baz mostly, you know, because a lot of the stuff with when I was doing it with Micah, we were both in the shots a lot. But I've actually started to really love that side of it too. Like, but yeah, dude, it's interesting because I feel like it's just different paths you can take. Like, it's like, I want to be an actor. I want to be a super successful, you know, doing this one thing. But I've just started, it's like, I just, you know, I don't know, man. I'm just happy to do it. And whatever happens is awesome. Like, just really fulfilling. So, yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think, with goals, a lot of times you have like one thing in mind, and then you start the process of like achieving that thing or moving towards it, and then you discover so many things along the way that are like different.
Yeah.
Because I over this process, like I've just absolutely fallen in love with just like cinematography and lighting and making a shot look just absolutely beautiful. And I feel like that's what we always do pretty well, even with our small team. And you just like get a more appreciation for just so many things.
Yeah. Fill the room with haze. every time.
Oh yeah, lots of haze.
Yeah, man.
Lots of haze. Always more haze is usually. When in doubt, more haze.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude.
It's crazy breathing that stuff though for like a week and a half straight nonstop. I mean, it's literally what 16. It's most shoots are 14 is like 14 hours is kind of like a maybe average day week, like I don't know, lower day. Sometimes up to 20 in our last shoot, and it's just like just breathing haze nonstop.
Yeah, dude. The last shoot, like we were in a pretty big like theater room, and it was just you couldn't even see. It was yeah, man. That smell stays with you, but it makes everything look better. So
yeah, and for people who don't know, like it's just essentially just diffuses the light in the room and kind of softens things up.
Yep.
You see it a lot in I think the first season of House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. You see a lot of haze. Like it's used in shots that even you wouldn't expect to like see it. It's not something you like always see. It's just something to add to the light diffusion in the room.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's crazy like how much you breathe in though. Or at least it's crazy how much we breathed in on the last set.
Yeah, man. And that one
and Hedge Mill too.
Yeah, when we did Hedge Mill, we were up in like a old barn, like hay loft, breathing in that plus like old hay, which has been there for probably
like
years,
just
right?
Mold just like coming out of alfalfa bales that have been sitting there for 20 years.
So funny.
It's funny. It's funny to look back on. I wonder if there's I was asking Baz last time, I was like, is there any set where you're not just like breathing this stuff like nonstop? And he said, nah, you're pretty much most sets you're always doing it. But I guess if you're outdoors, like that's where you get a break.
That's where you get the bug fogger.
That's true. Yeah, I guess we can reveal our secret weapon. But essentially, for anyone out there who wants to use fog outdoors, like at least for me, like music videos, I always love using fog. But when you have, a plug-in fogger like you use for Halloween or whatever, you can't get it outside like deep in the woods. So what kind of like figured out is if you take an insect fogger, which normally has like, insect repellent in it, and you fill it up with mineral oil and you light it, like you light the propane on the fogger, like it will just absolutely create an insane amount of fog just from the mineral oil powered by propane. So it's totally portable. But that stuff is a whole nother level of breathing in. I mean, we still don't know if it's safe. I mean, well, it's a general consensus of at least filmmakers online, like they think it is fairly safe, but I don't know. That's a whole nother level of like smell and thickness on the lungs.
And didn't it set on fire when you shot your last video?
Yeah, the last music video I shot for both Fate and Bones Rooted Under Cloudy Water, literally just like turned into a flamethrower. Shot like 5-foot flame in a woods with dry leaves like everywhere. But yeah, it's not something you want to do in California. But in Minnesota, it's just fine. I mean, if it's but yeah, you don't expect stuff like that to happen.
Like when we set the dumpster on fire.
Set the dumpster on fire. Yeah, the Hedge Mill.
Yeah.
What was it? It was like a barrel of ashes.
Yeah, that were still hot. Hadn't it rained the day before?
It had rained the day before, and I was just like, "Oh, this barrel of ashes is like totally fine." It was maybe like that thick. Like it was like a few inches thick of ashes at the bottom of like a metal barrel. And I was like, "Well, I guess I was like, "All right, this should be fine. Like I'll just dump it in the garbage." Literally, I don't know, a minute later, like I hear just Josh scream. Yeah. Someone screams and I look over and the dumpster is just absolutely on fire. Solid 4-foot flame. And had to drag out the hose. Cause I grabbed a fire extinguisher, used it completely dead, expired, didn't work. So had to whip out the old hose because we were out on a farm.
Yep.
And we got it out, but it took a while to get that thing out.
It did, yeah. So. It's a cool scene.
It was a literal dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Not even. Yeah. It was crazy, but
worth it.
Yeah.
Fully worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Trying to think of some other like funny stories, but it's all kind of a blur.
Yeah. It's, I mean,
you packed 20 so hours much into such a short time.
20-hour days, like, yeah, I'm trying to think of something too from the last showing. Anything that went like crazy. Well, we did build our own dolly.
Yeah, that
which
was
is a cool cool process.
Yep. And dolly, for anyone who doesn't know, it's just like tracks you put your tripod on so you can do nice cinematic movement. And we just use PVC pipes on a big board, put some wheels on it, and massively elevated the shoot, I think.
Yeah. And that's a good example of something that, you know, would have cost a lot of money to rent or own. And it's like, you can just like build it yourself, you know?
Yeah. And the same with the rain we did for Old Dog. Put the old thumb on the hose. Or no, we had like a little nozzle, but it looked legit. Like it looked really good.
Oh, totally. Yeah. The rain stuff is like, well, we had real rain in that, and then we did the fake rain.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that broke maybe this isn't a funny story, but the thing that broke my heart maybe the most in the last showing is we made, I gotta say, like, I don't know, like 10 pounds of popcorn the first night for the popcorn machine.
Yeah.
And literally, like, because the theater actually had like an event the next day, it became a scheduling conflict. We had to shoot everything, take literally everything down from the entire place, and then put everything back up. So we had this massive thing of popcorn, like it was an old popcorn maker from like the 40s, I believe. We had to literally just like get rid of all the popcorn and just scoop it. I think I was scooping out popcorn into a bag for like, I don't know, 30, 35 minutes straight.
Yeah. And it was Christmas. Our set was all Christmas, so we had to set up a tree, decorations, all that. But
right. So it was a crazy setup to take down.
Yeah.
And that's just another obstacle.
Yeah.
Right.
The snow machine, that was another one. That was cool. That thing is cool.
Had a snow machine.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of lessons with that thing. Very loud. Very loud.
So funny, dude.
Yeah, it was interesting doing Christmas in August.
Yeah.
It was August, right? Yeah.
Yep. But that's another thing. It's like, you know, you can sell that with color and sound design and, you know, just don't look too closely at the snow when you're watching it.
Right.
Massive
it's a
bubble
little
pieces
sus.
Yeah. But
oh, absolutely.
I think that's funny though, dude. Like that's one thing with Farlight. You know, I remember when we went into it, I was like, I want this to be like Hereditary. Like I want it to be like super disturbing. But it's just turned into this kind of like cozy, funny, vibey thing. And I love it, honestly. You know, I feel like that's kind of what it was meant to be. I feel like, I don't know, there's probably some disturbing elements. I think Old Dog might end up being more like that, more serious. But I've kind of enjoyed that. Like the quirks and the weird stuff, it's all kind of just made it feel like just nice, you know? Like,
right.
So that's another thing is like you just sometimes don't know what it's going to be. Maybe if you have like a massive team and massive budget, you can be like, this is the vision, we're doing this, you know? But yeah.
Yeah, it's really transformed from what we thought it was going to be. Like we thought it was going to be this super serious like horror movie, and then it kind of transformed into a little bit more of like lighthearted, cozy comedy. I think it probably just came natural with like the writing and the script. And that's just another thing is not knowing what something is going to be until you actually make it. Because I feel like a good script is like, that's the number one thing, obviously. But until you actually start to like put all the pieces together, it's really hard to like imagine what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the last showing kind of turned out the closest to what we imagined beforehand, which is just comes with experience. So I guess like that's part of it. With time, you kind of end up making what you more so imagine, probably, because when we first started, it just seemed like the end product was so different from what we imagined, and it's gotten a lot closer as we've gone on.
Definitely, man. Yeah.
But it's been a cool outcome regardless of what it's turned into, which is totally different than I think what we both expected.
Definitely. But it's interesting because like most projects wouldn't be like this, but you know, like I've been writing as we've been going, like shooting, you know, like, but now it's like, because we filmed some, I have way more context of the film. So it's like redemption for the first story almost, because we get to cater it more to what we've already done. And that's cool, you know, that's it. I mean, I don't want to do it again, but it's cool for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's been interesting writing and filming kind of at the same time. And, yeah, just a really challenging project, I think, on the writing side, but, and the filming side, but yeah, just super rewarding. So
yeah. But yeah, we're all really excited to release it. And yeah, man, I got to give a shout out to Micah too. I feel like it's like I didn't intend for last showing to be funny, but dude, I just feel like he's naturally funny. Like his expressions and all that stuff. Like I'm editing, dude. I like laugh my ass off sometimes. I'm like, it's just so funny. Just a naturally funny guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, and you guys already have sort of a synergy.
Yeah.
Just from everything you've done, you can tell, and and I guess like with Hedgemill is the same thing, because I was like, oh, this is like, it's kind of a funny story, but you know, it's semi like pretty serious too, and it was just kind of funny seeing you guys get together, and as soon as the camera's rolling, like you instantly transformed kind of into that synergetic like effect, like the sort of the Dake and Tyke was the other project you've worked on in the past, just pure comedy. And it was funny to see that come out pretty much immediately.
Yeah, dude.
On set, which was hilarious to me, because to me, I thought it was like we were like, I had a total different vibe of like what the film was going to be. And instantly it just turned into the craziest, like total opposite of what I thought. And it was kind of interesting. And I was like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing. And it kept up like that. And it turned out to be great. So
yeah, I think part of that for me was like, we've never done anything like this before. It's probably just easiest if we do these two characters because we've done them. But I also feel like I've seen Micah grow as an actor too, which is cool. So
totally. Yeah, 100%. Especially just because I feel like Farlight it's just, it's like the first, I don't want to say serious thing, because obviously Dake and Tyke, like you guys made some funny stuff, but never put like money behind it like this, where this is an actual film that's going to be distributed
for sure
on, you know, platforms. And
yeah,
it's, you definitely grow more when something's like, it seems like more professional, and you're actually really doing it versus just messing around. And it kind of forces you to grow more. So yeah, I've seen a lot of growth, but like literally all of us, Josh, you know, doing lighting, he's like gotten better and better every film. Your acting has improved with every film. I think for me, just being more comfortable on set, and like kind of, we've learned a lot of how not to like try to step on each other's toes, because that's a really easy thing to do as well. Just, you know, a lot of times we've got a shot set up, and every single person kind of has their opinion of, oh, I think you should move this here. I think maybe angle the camera a little bit more here. And it was funny. I feel like the last showing, that was like probably the most collaboration we had.
Definitely, yeah.
Setting up each shot.
Yeah, I think communication is something you just got to learn and be okay with figuring out, you know? And because I mean, it's like, yeah, it is the thing. It's like, there's always like the core vision, but like I remember the one shot we were filming in the bathroom, and I was so focused on just doing the scene, because for me, it was kind of a bigger scene as far as like dialogue and stuff. And you were like, no, we have to cover this paper towel thing. And I remember being like, no, it's fine, dude. And I could tell you're just like, we got to do it. I was like, all right. And it was good. Like it ended up being good. I just like stuff like that. It's like, you don't know, because you're not looking at things through a certain lens sometimes, and other people are, you know?
Yeah. What's the challenge been like for you of, you know, you have to memorize a script. Obviously you wrote everything, but you still have to memorize like stuff you've written. What's the challenge been like for you to, because I'm still curious about this, because I haven't done it in Old Dog yet, you know, walking on set and you have all of this stuff to memorize, you're trying to sink into the characters, you're trying to do all this, but yet you're still kind of directing everything. Like, and so you're trying to think of like everything, you know, behind the camera.
Yeah.
While you're also, so how's that been for you? Because I feel like that would be really challenging.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's kind of a lot, but so for last showing, I'll say it was like different than Hedgemill, because Hedgemill was more just me and Micah improvising and just whatever. But this one I knew is like, well, we got another actor. It's going to be more. So I'm a big procrastinator. Like, you know, memorizing lines and stuff is just something I always push to the last minute. But I just decided like I have to prepare fully before, because I'm not going to have time to think about the dialogue. So I just did that. I was like, I'm just going to memorize it all, go through it every night, all the time. And if I hadn't have done that, I don't know, you know, how I could have done it. But I think it was just a preparation thing, because I was like, I just want it so instilled in me that I can think about that other stuff, you know? And I think that was it. And that's what everyone says to do. It's a hard thing to do, but I do feel like with those, because in this, in last showing, I'm playing just a really weird character with like a different voice. Like those characters, I have way easier time just like snapping into. It's like almost they take up a different place in my subconscious.
Mhm.
you know, so it's a little easier. But yeah, I've had to try to learn how to do that too. But you know, I always like look at the shot, have someone stand in for me or whatever,
Mhm.
you know. But I also feel like I've put a little more trust into everyone too now, which is good,
Mhm.
you know. Like I know,
Right.
you know, just like Josh and you and Micah too, like and Baz, like everyone knows what a good shot should look like, you know. Whereas before, when we didn't know each other on that creative level, it was a little more like, okay, I got to really, you know, I'm still like super particular about stuff, but yeah, man, it's just been a trust thing and having to let go a bit, and
Right.
it's turned out fine. So yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely coming from the music world, doing everything yourself. It's you're so used to being like commander in chief of every aspect of it.
yeah,
So I can imagine. I mean, I know because like I'm there too, and you get into these. It's like, well, I just have to like, yeah, you guys know what looks good. Like I don't even have to look at it. But it's hard because you're like, no, like I've always seen what everything looks like, everything I've been involved with. So, but yeah, I do feel like we've gotten to the point now where like no one's gonna let a truly bad shot like just happen. You know, we're always gonna make sure things are perfect. It really what it comes down to when we're like not arguing, but we're kind of going back and forth with it. It's always just like a preference thing. Like overall, everyone's ideas, like yes, this everyone's ideas are good and they would all look amazing. It just comes down to like little preferences. So
yeah.
yeah, it's just something you learn, like working with a small team.
I agree, man. And that's one thing too. I do feel like our experience with our own stuff, music video wise and whatever, has been so valuable because I think we know, like we have a standard for like it has to look good, it has to be this way. That I do feel like in a way, and it's not like an ego thing, but I think it is further ahead than some people's because we've had experience. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like there's already this like bar we have to hit.
Right.
Just things looking cinematic, lighting, all audio, like all that stuff, which I'm really thankful for, you know, because I have worked on some movies before, independent stuff with like bigger crews, and to me, objectively, they don't look or sound like nearly as good as what we're doing. But I think it's just like a experience thing. It's like context of our experience being applied to this project is like just so valuable. So, and there's always more to learn, obviously, but it's a good starting point.
Right. Yeah, I feel like our starting point is probably, at least from the feedback I've heard of other people, it seems like we're at a, like, as far as how things look, how things sound, I would say like, you know, we're in a pretty good starting point for independent filmmakers. Obviously, there's people that are going to be way better on their first film and a lot worse, but I do think that, you know, we've had great experience from doing the music videos. And it's sort of like, I feel like we both have this where you always kind of think, like you first, when you make something, whether you make a song or whether you make a music video, it's like you make it and you think it's awesome. But then like a year goes by and you're like, that thing kind of sucked. You know what I mean? And it's not that it actually did suck, but it's that you've grown so much since then. So you're like, oh, I kind of see how this works. And then you make another song, it's a little better, or another video. Next year goes by, you're like, that thing still sucked, but it was a lot better than the thing before.
Right.
And it's like, at least I've been doing music for about 5 years. I guess 4 years like full time, like it's been the main thing I've done. And it's just so many, after time goes by over and over, you continue to kind of like up your game a little bit more, especially probably with the music videos for me, because music is totally subjective. But I think when like if whether something or not looks proper or good, like filmic, like cinematic wise, I think a lot of people feel this somewhat similar way. Music is a little bit, you know, more subjective, but it's the same thing. It's like you put out your first music video and it doesn't look very good, but you think it's okay at the time. Then time goes on, you realize, oh, I need to improve these things. So I do think we start at a good point with Farlight, and yeah, I just think it's a good lesson for people to take away. Like, you know, don't always always try to improve your craft, even if you think you are the shit or whatever.
For sure, man.
You know, you can always get better, and you should always like be humble about your creativity. And yeah, I think it's been great. Like just both of us having that mindset, and yeah, and each story has looked better and better for us too, which is great. And it's like we're thinking the same thing with the next project. Like this has got to be the best project. You know, what are all the things that we could improve upon from the last one? Not, you know, story wise, it's going to be different, but just like the things that can objectively be different, like technical stuff, lighting, all those things. So
Yeah, and it's an interesting, I think it's like you're always your own worst critic, but I feel like me and you are very similar in how our minds work, to where that's been with me my whole life. No matter how many things I've done our goals I've had, it's like always head down. It's like, no, it has to be better, which can be detrimental at a point. But I think it is,
For
like
sure.
you said, it is good to always be thinking like, this could be better. How can I improve? What can I learn? Because I feel like as soon as you're like, okay, this is perfect, you're just kind of, you've lost it in a way, It's like you always got to be willing to outdo yourself in a way. So
yeah, and I think a lot of people take it negatively to be critical of, yourself. And it's like self-criticism, it can definitely be like a cycle, a super detrimental cycle. But when you're doing creative things for a living, I mean, your life sort of depends, the quality of your life and your financial side. It kind of depends on the quality of your art as seen by other people. But you still have to make art for yourself. But the whole point is it's okay to be self-critical and to always kind of think your stuff isn't good enough, because in the end, I can still enjoy a song I made 5 years ago. I might cringe a little bit at it. I might wish a million things were different, but I'm like, that was probably the best thing I could have done at that time in my life. So I just got to accept it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's actually a really healthy cycle, I think, for people who want to do creativity professionally. Is like, it's okay to be really critical and just get better every time. As long as you're recognizing that you are getting better, and you can kind of, like you could probably make a list of things that are improved every time. I think that's the perfect place to be, because it doesn't mean that you're going to hate everything you've done. It just means you always recognize where there's like space to improve, I guess.
Yeah, man. And I think too, it's like kind of coming back to like the whole essence of this thing is like, a lot of people would always ask me like, how do I write a song? How do I do this and this? It's like, you just do it, and you just do it, and you naturally just understand it more, get better. And I think that's what's been happening with filmmaking for us. So, and I think that's part of why I want to do this podcast, just to like share our journey, because it's interesting, because like I've been doing music for over a decade, and I did so many things I wanted to do, but I kind of realized, as far as like those accomplishments don't really matter when it comes to filmmaking. Like it is totally separate. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a lot of ways. So I've had to understand, like, this is I'm new here, but I'm fine with that, and I want to learn. I want to go through whatever we got to go through. So I think in that way, I guess maybe spiritually you'd call it, it's been good for me. And this filmmaking stuff has really opened up a lot in my personal life too, I would say. Like, not just with creativity, it's kind of changed my mindset in ways I don't really necessarily understand, but just opening up to something that's totally different, where you have to work with other people, and it's been good. I feel like good for the soul too. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a lone wolf myself, so it's like, yeah, collaborating with other people, it's definitely more fulfilling than just sitting in your room making music. I mean, I love forever I'll sit in my room and make music and do that, I think.
Can you hear me?
But it's not the same as being with a group of people, making something bigger than yourself, kind of taking the ego out of it too. Because I think a lot of people today, with social media, with, just the rise of like, self-importance, and maybe in a more negative way sometimes too, where it's like all about you kind of, or at least, yeah, like in just doing social media for a while, you kind of get, it's just like me,
That'll line up again.
but with filmmaking, you can't do that. It has to be perfectly collaborative.
Yep.
And it's definitely grown, like it's made me grow as a person a lot more, get better at like working with others, learn like leadership skills, because sometimes there's things that that other people don't know, so you have to communicate those things well. And everyone's like expressing those skills like on set, because we're such a small crew. But sometimes you have other people that are doing things that maybe they're just a little more simple, so you like learn to like kind of give people direction in like a good, kind way, and yeah, just like keep the vibe going. So yeah, I'd say the same thing for me.
Yep. The vibe.
It's definitely made me grow as a person.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I guess the reason we wanted to do this podcast too is just sort of express everything with the films, everything, with Farlight, but kind of moving forward with Amber Forest. Yeah, just doing like whatever we really want to do, whatever comes to mind.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be talking about lots of other things as well. But I guess this is just a good first podcast to kind of
For sure.
talk about the filmmaking process, what we've been up to, and
Yeah, man.
yeah.
And I mean, we kind of tried to plan it out, but we didn't know how it was going to go. But yeah, man, and I think for me personally, like, it's kind of a whole separate thing, but I really wanted to do something like this because I got caught up in the social media thing, and kind of just didn't really kind of forgot how to like just be myself, express myself. I had to learn that. I'm just not a short form content guy. So I think doing something like this is really now kind of the only way for me to do that, which I love.
Right.
And we both listen to tons of podcasts. I think it's one of the best new forms of media out there. So yeah, I'm excited to do more of these and see what we talk about.
Yeah, and we're hoping to have guests on as well. Just kind of go with the flow with everything. Definitely had no clue what we were gonna really talk about today. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and
yeah, thanks for watching.
I'm looking forward to the future.
Well, I guess that kind of wraps up the first one. So
Sweet.
yeah, thank you all for tuning in and checking it out. Give us a follow, subscription, whatever you call it these days. Leave a comment,
Right.
share. Jamie, can you pull that up for us?
Exactly.
No, but yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And Farlight will be coming next year is our plan, coming out on streaming platforms. So yeah.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Catch you soon. Peace.